Good morning. So I actually paused before pressing live today, which I don't normally do. It's 7:40 and I paused since 7:34 because I was going to go on at 7:35 and I hesitated. I put in the title, cleaning my screen. I put in the title of the video, and instead of pressing live, I just kept looking at the phone like, am I going to press live yet? I don't normally do that, but I'm a little bit stressed. I'm a lot stressed today, actually. If I had to put my stress on the scale of 0 to 10, it'd be like a 6. Because my hands-free device is broken, and that's pissing me off. So I paused because I was like, am I really going to go on live and then this thing is just going to fall like it did yesterday? Anyway, this is Travel Chat. This is the show where I use my super long commute to talk through my personal development, talk about any epiphanies I've had in the previous 24 hours. I do it every day about this time from Monday through Friday. And hey, Ashley. Hi, Mona. So I've been coming on faithfully for a little over a month now. Whether I'm in a good mood or a bad mood, if things are going well or if things are not going well, I come on every day and talk it out because, to be honest, like, I use my commute to talk it out anyway because it just helps me to get clarity about what's going on, what I'm thinking, what my next steps are. And so a lot of times on social media, people will show you all the good stuff that's happening in their life, and let me get some tea here. They'll kind of like pretty up the pictures. They'll pretty up the pictures, and they'll pretty up, the captions, and they'll pretty up everything that's going on in their life to make it seem like everything is perfect all the time. And that's one thing that I definitely do not want to do. It just popped in my head is back in January, I had my word for the year. I had 2 words. I had a word for myself, and it was authenticity. And the word for my business was ease. And actually, that's ease is flowed into everything. It's like for everything. Like, I'm trying to find the easiest way to do something. And with authenticity, I'm just trying to be the most honest version of me. Because I've spent like my whole life just being what I thought other people wanted me to be and doing what other people wanted me to do. And then 2018 hit, and baby, that midlife crisis kicked in, and I was like, F it all. Like, I'm doing what I want to do. So after a lot of, knocking over all the, up, what do they say? Turning over the apple cart or whatever it is. But I messed up a lot of stuff in 2018 because I was I was crazy with like this idea of everything has to change. And so in 2019, I found myself, and I was like, okay, this is the year that I'm going to be my true self. I'm not going to apologize for who I am or what I think, and I'm not going to hide anything anymore. So when I started doing this show, it was really important for me to just come on and just be honest on good days and bad days. The only bad day I didn't come on, it was a bad day. I was having a personal issue with a friend, and I knew that if I came on, and the way I do the show is just stream of consciousness. Like, there's no notes. It's just a topic is in my head, and I just talk it out. And I didn't want the subject that was going on between me and my friend to come up in the conversation on a live stream video. So I didn't post that day. I was kind of like, and people were like, where are you? And I was like, I don't want to talk about it today. Like, I can't. Y'all gonna know too much if I talk about it. Plus, the person I was talking about watches the show, and I was like, I'm not gonna do that. Like, that's not how I roll. So today I want to talk about the comfort zone. And yesterday, for some reason, I was binge listening to Bob Proctor. Bob Proctor is like the granddaddy of personal development. I just named him that. I don't know what he calls himself, but I have heard of Bob Proctor, but I've never looked into him or watched any of his, I probably watched one of his videos back in the day, but I hadn't watched it. And yesterday it was like I had a taste for it. I was like, I need to listen to some Bob Proctor. And I was enlightened. Now, there's a saying that says, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And I think that's absolutely correct. I think that if somebody gives you a book and you're not quite on that wavelength yet, like you're not ready to hear what the book is telling you, you're not ready, even if it's a YouTube video, and you're just not ready to hear it or understand it, it won't mean anything to you. You may not even read it. You may toss it to the side. But when you're ready, hey, back again. So somebody just called me. That was it. Sorry for the interruption. Thanks for hanging around. So when you are ready to hear what needs to be spoken to your heart, it'll come back around. So this actually helps with abundance mindset, because there's a mindset that a lack mentality or a lack mindset is that, like, if I don't get this now, I'm never going to get it. And the abundance mindset is reinforced by this concept that if somebody offered me The Richest Man in Babylon back in 2007. I had my ex-boyfriend, he was like, you got to read this book, The Richest Man in Babylon. And I totally disregarded the entire concept. Like, I didn't know what he was talking about. I didn't care to know what he was talking about. And here we are, 2019, and I'm just learning how valuable that book would have been to me back in the day, 12 years ago. I'm just realizing if I had read that book back then, my whole life probably would have taken a different turn. And he was trying to tell me that, but I wasn't ready to hear it. So I want to let you guys know that even if you feel like you missed something or you missed out on something, you didn't, because God has got you, right? And when it's time for you to hear it, it'll come back around. So don't ever feel like it's, you've lost something, you missed out on something. You're in the right place at the right time for your life. So that brings me back to Bob Proctor. So yesterday I discovered Bob Proctor. I binge listened to Bob Proctor because basically the work that I do is a lot of brainless typing. Like, seriously, I'm transcribing things, I'm typing things, I'm preparing a report. It's not at all using the full capacity of my brain power. And so I always have in earbuds and I'm listening to something. And yesterday it was just Bob Proctor. So I'm able to type and just kind of have this in my head, in my ears. And he blew my mind. And usually every day I listen to something different. And the only thing I cannot listen to while I type is Abraham Hicks. For some reason, it pulls my attention away and it stresses me out if I can't focus. It's like I feel like I'm multitasking, like I'm trying to do two things at once, which is impossible. So I don't listen to Abraham Hicks, but other things I can. But yesterday, Bob Proctor totally blew my mind to the point where today I think I'm going to be listening to like smooth jazz or something. Like, I can't even listen to anybody else's words. Even last night, I was trying to listen to a podcast and I was like, I can't even listen to a podcast. Like, I have to listen to some music or something that's just easy and light, because what this man said clicked so many places in my brain that I was like, I gotta chew on this, I gotta digest this needs a little time to sink in. Mind totally blown. So I'm gonna tell you guys what I took away from what I heard yesterday, and hopefully it helps you in some way. But like I said, if you don't get it all at once, it's because it's just not quite ready for you yet. You may get a piece of it and then later it'll be like, oh, and then you get the rest. It may not even be that profound. It could just be me. So what Bob Proctor was talking about is a paradigm shift. And basically this is similar to what Abraham Hicks talks about, but a paradigm is just a belief system that you have. So your paradigm is what you think something is. And someone else may think the completely different thing about the exact same subject. It's just a belief system that you had. And the way that you built that was in childhood, before you were 10 years old, just the time between even in the womb until, the time when your subconscious mind kind of closed off, everything that you took into your experience, you took it at face value. So when you're that small, anything that happens to you, you just take it at face value. You don't challenge it. You don't question it. Kids question things, but it's not like they're questioning the beliefs that they're picking up from their environment. You take it in as is. It seals into your brain, and that becomes your idea of the way things are, the way things work. So the two big things are relationships and money. So if your parents had a bad relationship, then you think relationships are like this, abusive, then okay, normal relationships are abusive. Whereas you may later get with somebody who doesn't feel that way. Their parents had a harmonious relationship, and they're like, what's wrong with you? Like, why do you keep fighting with me or arguing with me? That's not the way it works. And you're thinking, what's wrong with you? Like, that is the way it works, because that's just and it's not what you're used to. It's what your subconscious mind is telling you is the way things are, because you took that in and that's the way you believe. If you heard as a child, like, money doesn't grow on trees, who do you think you are? What do you think we're, the Rockefellers, and all that stuff about money? Then you're always going to feel like money is supposed to be tight. I remember hearing, my money is funny. I remember hearing that all the time. I remember hearing robbing Peter to pay Paul. All these things, I don't say those expressions, but they're internalized in me. And I feel like that's the way money should be. But I'm unlearning that. And that's what's going on right now. That's why I talk to you guys every day, because I am unlearning things and I'm learning new things. The only way to learn something new that's been ingrained in your belief system so long is by repetition. So first you have to recognize that it's in there. So once you realize that, like, everybody doesn't think that money burns a hole in your pocket. See, that's what I mean by my equipment, y'all. I'm about to throw this thing out the window. I wouldn't do that because I don't mess with Texas. I don't litter. But once you realize, okay, everybody doesn't think this way, and then you start thinking, well, how do other people think about this? And my big thing right now, I'm like, how do rich people think? I want to know how rich people think, and then I'm going to make myself think that way. And so that's what I was doing. So what Bob Proctor was talking about was a paradigm shift, meaning a complete change in your belief system. And this goes back to my self-care issue. This goes to weight loss. This goes to financial security. It goes to everything. It goes to time management. Because what he said was, you have your point A. This is where you are right now. This is whatever it is you're trying to change in your life. Like, this is point A. Point B is what you're trying to get to. So say your point B is weight loss. So say you weigh 200 pounds and you want to get to 160, right? The belief system that you have, or the paradigm or the mental picture that you have created in your mind over years and years of your beliefs, will influence whether or not you get to that point and whether or not you stay there. Try not to cough, y'all. I'm trying not to cough. That is good tea. So what happens is, your brain, your mind kind of has like I want to say it's like a GPS, but it's not like a GPS. It's like a heat-seeking missile. It's more like a heat-seeking missile. But it's like, he explains it like an airplane on autopilot. So you set the destination, right? So you set the destination, and that mental picture in your mind is the destination. But the problem is that our belief system is setting the destination. So if I say I want to weigh 160 pounds, I hope that's what I said before, 160. I want to weigh 160 pounds, but my mental picture, my belief, my subconscious mind is saying, girl, you ain't never going to get below 195. So good luck with that. You know what I mean? Like, my belief system has a picture of me at 195, but in my, my willpower is saying you are going to get to 160. What's going to happen is, I'm going to be vegetarian. I'm going to lose a lot of weight. Then I'm going to gain it back, and I'm going to be at 195. Then I'm going to go to 210. I'm come back to 200. And I'm going to be like, you know what? I'm going to try keto. I'm going to be keto. I'm going to go all in on keto. I'm going to lose a lot of weight. I'm going to go all the way down to like 170. And then I'm going to gain it all back. And I'm going to fall off the wagon. I'm going to eat French fries and mashed potatoes and sugar and donuts and Chinese food. And I'm just going to keep doing that because my subconscious mind is not going to let me progress or succeed beyond the mental picture that's in my belief system. So no amount of willpower that you use, no gimmick, no scheme, no nothing that you do to get from point A to point B is going to work unless you change the paradigm. You have to change that mental picture that you have of who you are. Once you change that and you got it so strongly in your mind of who you actually are, the path to get there is going to be so easy. Right? Mind-blowing. So, how do you change the picture in your mind? That's the big thing. So for me, and this is visualization, really. It's visualization. This is how I got out of debt, but I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't realize this is what I was doing. But in February, how we got out of debt, we were in 6-figure debt. The way that we did it, I basically imagined myself as a person who was out of debt. And I just decided it would take 5 years because I looked, and once you crunch the number, it was like, this is going to take a long time. Hi, Diane. I was like, this is going to take a long time. So I kind of decided, okay, I'm going to be who that person is who's out of debt. And I lived in that world. I imagined that it was true all the time to the point where I got all these ideas of how it could come true, and it came true. But then I had to keep it going because like a month, 2-3 months later, I was creeping back up there again. It's like, oh no, I had cut up my credit card, so that was a thing. But it was like I started spending more money and falling off the wagon. It was like, you know what, you're about to be right back in the same place unless you maintain that picture of yourself out of debt. Because that's what happens. We're headed towards this person we want to be, and then we self-sabotage because we have our body, our brain is trying to get us back to what's normal. So if you're trying to lose weight, this is what you do. And this goes for anything. I'm just using losing weight because it's kind of an easy example. So you create a vision board, right? If you create a vision board, you put on it pictures of people who are about the body type and the weight that you want to be. You imagine that that's you. You imagine so strongly, and I've said this every time I say visualization, I mean all 5 senses. Like, you imagine what it feels like to be in that body. You imagine what it feels like to go to the store and try on clothes that actually fit, that are kind of, you put on an 18 and it's too big, and you put on a 16 and it's too big, you know what I mean? Like, you have fun with it and just imagine, okay, this is what it's like, and oh my gosh, this is crazy, a 16 don't fit, how is that possible? You just keep going through scenarios of what it would be like to be this person. Imagine what does this person eat? What does she drink? Is she getting a 64-ounce Coca-Cola from the gas station like I've been doing for this past week? Or is she drinking water? You know what I mean? And the more you do that, because what's going to happen is, because I know this from experience, I don't want to drink water, okay? Like, that is not what I want. I want to eat donuts and drink Coca-Cola. I want to have pizza for dinner. But what happens is, once you start imagining this future person, and you can call her whatever you want, but it's the future version of yourself, the next best version of yourself, you start imagining what her life is like, what she's doing, what kind of exercise, like, is she walking around? Does she jog? Does she, do yoga? Does she lift weights? Like, what is she doing? You just start being in your head, working through it, kind of watching her as though she's a different person. And as you do that, you start to crave that, because that mental image in your mind of who you actually are starts to change. And that's the only way you can change that mental image, is by repetition, by immersion. You immerse yourself in that life and you start thinking about, like, what is she eating? What is she drinking? And what you'll find is, you keep doing this enough, the next time you get to the grocery store, you're like, I'm not going to buy a Coke. Like, it seems weird to you. It's like, why would I drink that? It's because all of a sudden you're not the person who drinks Coke. You're the person who drinks water. You know what I mean? I have no craving for coffee right now, which is so strange, because I love drinking coffee on my way to work. I have no craving for coffee because I've brainwashed myself out of craving coffee just by thinking of, who is the person I want to be? Who is the person I want to be? The next best person I want to be. And if you saw on my Facebook this week, I'm really focusing on sleep as part. I'm focusing on self-care in general, but I'm starting with sleep because I only want to do one thing at a time. Like, I personally don't overwhelm myself. Like, I set the bar very low. If I'm focusing on exercise, it is like 5 minutes exercise a day. And whatever I do on top of that is a bonus. Like, I don't stress myself out about stuff like this, because I know that's going to lead to self-sabotage. So I start out a little bit at a time. So I started with sleep, and I say, you know what? I want to get better sleep. I want to get up earlier. I want to be peppier during my day. I want to be, because I told you my job, I'm just typing. Sometimes you can get very tired doing that, and you get very, body starts to get stiffened and hurt. So I decided that in order to get better sleep, the next best version of me who sleeps well, she does not drink coffee. She doesn't use caffeine. So I got herbal tea, caffeine free, and I don't crave for coffee anymore, because being her is so important to me that it's more important than my morning coffee or my afternoon coffee or my evening coffee. No, just kidding. No, it's more important to me than coffee. So I feel like something is shifting inside of me because I'm not craving for coffee today. I drank water yesterday. I mean, it's just like something is shifting inside of me because I'm really taking this seriously. So you visualize, that's a big thing. And then you repeat. So I have sticky notes all over my car. If you happen to work with me and you pass my car, yes, it's the one with the sticky notes all over the inside. But I have sticky notes that remind me of things that shift my belief system. So if I believe that sleep is for lazy people, or if you sleep too much, you're lazy, then I'll have a sticky note that says restoration is good for the soul, or something like that. Sleep is a powerful restoration. And once you see, every time I see it, I say it out loud. And so you see it, you say it out loud, and that's in there. They're everywhere. They're in my office, they're on my bathroom mirror, they're on my computers, and they're in my car. So everywhere I see it, and they're in my planner, everywhere I see it, I repeat it, and I repeat it, and I repeat it. And that's how you change the belief system that you have in your subconscious mind. That's the only way, is repetition. It's the only way to change it. So once you change the mental image that you have of yourself, your journey is going to lead you towards being that person. Because your brain is going to say, like, sorry, y'all. Your brain is going to say, who is this person? Because this person looks like me and feels like me, but this person ain't me. And it's going to try to match those things up and make you into that person. And that's what you want. Because then it becomes effortless, right? Because then you're not depriving yourself. Like if you're trying to lose the weight, you're not depriving yourself of good food, because your brain is trying to get you to the point that you are the person that you think you are. You won't even want bad food. You won't even want junk food. You'll lose your taste for it altogether. So let's talk about the comfort zone, which is the title of the thing. That was like all the backstory, right? No, that was part of it. But the comfort zone, you wouldn't understand the comfort zone until I told you that part. So the comfort zone is this idea that your mind, the picture of you in your mind, your belief system, is going to match up with the words that you say and the thoughts that you think and the feelings that you have, all that's going to match, right? And you're going to feel comfortable. You will feel comfortable when the picture of you at 200 pounds matches the picture of you in reality of 200 pounds, and all your thoughts are saying, I'm 200 pounds, and your feelings are saying, I'm 200 pounds, and your appetite is saying, I'm 200 pounds. Like, everything, you are comfortable. You're comfortable in that. Now, your conscious mind may say, I want to lose weight, and that makes you feel unhappy. So you may be unhappy with that weight, but your mind, your connection, all that, you feel comfortable in that because everything matches. Now, when you work towards, so you will take your conscious mind, the part of you that says, I need to change this, and you'll start to do what I say. You start to do the vision board. You'll do the visualization exercises where you just use all 5 senses to be that person. You'll use the sticky notes. You'll repeat it. You'll have a mantra, and you could just make up mantras. People are like, I can't make up a mantra. A mantra is saying, I am, and then whatever. So you can say, I am, and it should be positive. So it shouldn't be like, I am not going to, no, not like that. But it can be like, I am joyfully and effortlessly losing 20 pounds. Just like that. That's a mantra. And you just repeat it to yourself. I'm joyfully and effortlessly losing 20 pounds. I am joyfully and effortlessly losing 20 pounds. And you just repeat that over to yourself throughout the day. And so you're doing that, and you are pretending to be that person, and you're living in her shoes, and you're figuring out what she eats and what she does. And so your mind will start to try to match up who those two people are. It'll try to match you with the you in your mind, the one that you've been visualizing. And so what'll happen is you will become uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. It doesn't match. It's uncomfortable. It's the cognitive dissonance I was talking about the other day, where your brain is going like, whoa, what's happening? What do you mean you're 160 pounds? Like, you are 200 pounds. What are you trying to do? And instead of having this willpower where you're pushing against and forcing against anything, your brain will just try to match it. And so you're uncomfortable. Things will be shaken up. It's gonna feel scary. It's gonna feel bad. It's gonna feel like withdrawal or something. It's gonna be uncomfortable as your mind tries to match up these two people. And that's what you want. You don't want to always live in this comfort zone area where nothing is changing. You're not getting better. You're not becoming a new person. You're not becoming a better person, a different person. I mean, you can. I shouldn't say you shouldn't be, because you can. Like, you can live your life however you want to live your life. I just know for me personally, I don't want to be the same person year after year after year, doing the same thing year after year after year. Like, I want to constantly become a better version of me. The 2018 person, I need a peppermint, really. And I have some in my bag, but I can't dig them out. The 2018 version of me had to die so that I could become the 2019 version of me. Now it's August, and I'm thinking the 2019 version of me is getting ready to die to become the 2020 version of me. Because every year I need to be leveling up. I need to be a different person, a better person. Even if it's not in a discernible way that you know about. Like, if I didn't come on this camera and tell you that I'm trying to sleep better, you may not know that. I may not, I may be more alert. Like, I may not be cranky. Like Ashley knows, I may not be cranky when I have to come covering Fannin. You may be like, dang, she ain't cranky when she has to cover Fannin. But apart from that, you may not know that that's what I'm doing. And lots of different other things like hydration. I'm taking hydration seriously. And you may not know that about me, but it's not something you have to advertise. It's just something where you're saying, this version of me is going to die to the next better version of me. And that death, that is going to be where your comfort zone gets disrupted. Where you say, you know what? I'm going to be different. It's going to be hard, but it's going to be worth it, and I'm going to try it. So, hey, are you saying yes because of the cranky? Seriously. In the comments today, tell me if there's any area of your life where you feel like you could level up. And like I said, I got a laundry list of areas that I know I can level up in, but I only focus on one at a time. So in the comments, focus on like one reachable, tangible thing that you can change and level up to the next best version of yourself. Or you can tell me the picture in your mind that you need to create of this person. Look at my thing falling down, y'all. Oh my gosh, Amazon. The picture in your mind that you're going to change. Because if you really think about it, even though you say like, okay, I'm going to lose this weight, when you really think about being that goal weight, what do you really think about? You probably get nervous. You probably get a little sweaty and start feeling like, can I really, like, what is this going to take? Am I have to eat spinach every day? Like, what is this really going to take for me to be this person? And it's a very scary thought to decide to change your life radically. So what happens is a lot of times we decide we're going to change our life radically, but then we don't, because nobody's watching us and nobody's, holding us accountable, and it's really too scary. So we chicken out and we just like, don't do it. So even if we want to, we don't, because we think we're in control, but our subconscious mind is really in control. So we think like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this. And then it never happens. Like 5 years later, you're like, oh, didn't I say I was going to do? And instead of losing 20 pounds or 40 pounds or whatever, you've actually gained 10 or 20 more, because you really did not see yourself as a thin person or as a healthy weight person. You really didn't see yourself doing that. You thought you did, you wanted to, somebody else around you was doing it, but you really didn't see yourself doing it. And so your internal guidance system that was leading you had you yo-yoing right back to the same place. Blew my mind yesterday. Blew my mind, because you can apply that to anything. You can apply that to success. You make a little money, then you self-sabotage, and then you don't. Then you're right back to where you are, So this is what I'm marinating in today. I'm just like, oh my gosh, who am I in my head now? I got to change the person in my head, because I need to level up. It's time. It's almost 2020. Y'all, we need to be whole. All different people next year. All different people. And then Michelle Rohr is talking about, I'm in this coaching group, and she's talking about she's going to start coaching us to level up every 90 days. So every 90 days, every 3 months, being a different person. Who are you now? Who are you now? What are you working on? So I'm like, wow, okay. My life will be unrecognizable, and that's totally fine. If it gets better, then that's fine. Don't be afraid of failure. We'll talk about failure on Friday. Okay, so I'm almost at work. I'm gonna listen to some smooth jazz and let my brain relax for a while, because Bob Proctor yesterday seriously blew my mind. You can find him on YouTube. That's where I found him. Just search in the search bar on YouTube for Bob Proctor, BOBPROCTOR, and all of his videos. He talks about the paradigm shift in almost all of his videos. So yeah, check it out. He uses the charts and the visualization graphics so that you understand, like what I was doing with my hands. It makes more sense. So have a wonderful day. Let me see. You see the different... What? No. Okay, I'm not scary. She said, okay, I see the difference in you when you cover now. I was initially scared of the cranky. No, I'm actually not scary. So I'm actually sometimes just very sleepy. So I'm not a scary person at all. I don't know, maybe. No, I'm not scary. Yeah, so I'm glad you see a difference. But yeah, I had to really because, most everybody's living in their head. So, okay, great. All right, equipment, great. Most everybody is living in their head. And so if something happens to you, you take it personally, right? Like if somebody is mean to me, I'm like, oh my gosh, why are they mean to me? But really, years ago, I had to realize that somebody is probably being mean to you because something is going on with them. Like it doesn't really have a lot to do with you. So I would make a conscious effort to make sure that people knew, like, it's not you, like it's me, like I'm having a bad day. And sometimes I forget to do that. But I know that if I am having a bad day, like the position I'm in where I do have to interact with people, it's not fair to them if they think that it's something they did, because usually not. Like, Ashley, I've told you several times, like, you're one of my favorite nurses, and I respect everybody that I work with, just about. But usually if you're getting like serious major attitude from me, it's just because I'm sleepy. That's it. And that's why I always would carry my coffee and everything, and that's it. And so that's part of what I'm trying to change, because that is ridiculous to live your life year over year over year. I remember dealing with this and struggling with this 10 years ago. It used to be worse. And it's like, that's ridiculous to have 10 years of your life where you're like cranky in the morning and it's finally like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock and, noon, when you're finally like, okay, I'm refreshed. Okay, here, what are we doing? Coffee kicks in and now you're a nice person. I'm like, that's ridiculous. So that's what I'm trying to change. All right. So tell me what you're trying to change, and I will talk to you later. Bye.